Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we are going to see what exactly is for else and while else. Yes, we have this else part in for the loops in Python, that is for else and while else, and how exactly it works. Let us just begin. So how does the else part works for the loops in Python? So first we're going to look at the for loop. Okay. So what happens over here is we have a for loop and for I in range. Okay. And suppose I say 5. And if I say if it is equal to 3, I'm going to break that loop. And in the previous video, I have, uh, you know, I have covered the topic, that is the break and continue. So this is going to break the loop. And then what is going to happen? That is there is a print statement where I'm printing I, and this is the for loop. So that's the line, the indentation. And over here will be the else part. Okay, the else part. So this is the for loop and it has the else part. And then over here, I'll be just writing print and I will say the loop ends normal. Okay. Now let us understand the for and else. So how exactly this works is like, if this loop, okay, if the for loop, if it breaks, okay, it is not going to going to go for all the iterations. Suppose this has 5 iterations, 0 to 4, so it will not go for all these iterations. And if the loop breaks, in that case this else part will not get executed. Okay, but if the loop completes all its iteration, it does not break in between, in that case this else part will get executed. I hope there is no confusion to this. If the loop breaks, the else part will not get executed. And if the loop does not break, it completes all its iterations, then in that case, the else part will get executed. So in this case, if you see at the code, what is going to happen over here, I will be having the value 3 and the loop is going to break. So it is not going to go and execute the else part. Okay. But had it been like the condition never would have got satisfied. For example, if I just make this as 10 over here, right? If I make it as 10, so obviously I is never going to have 10. So it is never going to break, right? And it is going to complete all its iterations. In that case, so this is going to produce the output that is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Those are the 5 iterations. Since it completed all its iterations, the else part will get executed. So it is going to print after that, that is the loop ends normal. Okay, this is what it is going to print. Okay, and similarly, if I just switch this aside, and the while loop will also work the same way, and that is while. Okay, if I take a variable I is equal to 1, I less than equal to 5, and then inside the loop, if I say I equal to 3, so in this case I will become 3 because I'm going to increment. I will okay, I'm not going to print over here, I'm going to break, right? So I'm going to break the loop, and outside that if statement, that is, I'm going to print the value of I, and then it will have the else part, and the else part will exactly come in the aligned with the while. Okay, and then there is a colon, and then I can print the same message. I will just write, keep it very short, that the loop ends, right? So what is going to happen over here, that and I'm not incrementing over here, so I need to increment, otherwise this is an infinite loop. So I is equal to I plus 1, right? This increment is very important. So the initial value of I is 1, so obviously it's going to print 1. then I is going to get incremented, so it is going to print 2. Then I will become 3, and since I will become 3, this particular condition will get satisfied and the loop will break. Since the loop has terminated, this else part will not get executed. If this would have been the same case, if this condition never would have got satisfied, the loop has completed all the iterations. In that case, the print statement, this whatever the else part you have, the block code under the else part, will get executed. I hope that this is very much clear. Now, what we're going to do is, what's the use of this, right? Why do Python has this else part for the loops, which we never find in any other programming language? Okay, for this, let us take one example. So what we are going to do is, we are going to take an example. And we're going to take an example of the prime numbers. And that's the perfect example. I'm going to shift this aside, and we are going to write a program on the prime numbers. So we are going to check whether a number is prime or not. So what are prime numbers? Prime numbers are natural numbers which are around greater than 1. So it starts from 2 and it is only divisible by itself, right? So those are prime numbers. Now we are going to do the program which you will normally find this program everywhere in every programming language. First, we are going to do it that way. And then we are going to see how Python can be useful which can actually reduce the code. Okay, so let us first do the program for the prime numbers. So prime number program is like, I will take a value and from the user, right? Int of input. And I will say enter a number, right? And then what I can do is I will use a variable that is maybe is prime. Okay, or I will just use the same variable name which you will normally find everywhere. Let me use that same variable name, and that is variable name is flag, and I will give that value as 0. So what is flag? It's just a name of the variable. No, but normally if you see the prime number program, you'll find this variable name, but it's just a name. That's it. It's a flag, and the value of flag is 0. Now what we need to do is we are going to start a for loop for I in range, and I'm going to start from 2 and go till n. So it will be less than n. So I need to go till less than n. So if I keep this n, so obviously it will be less than n, because that is how the range function works. So it will start from 2 and go till n minus 1, right? And then what I will do is I will simply try to divide the number n with I. And if it gets divisible, so if the remainder, so that's the mod operator. So I will try to divide that number with I. So I will be initially, for example, if it is 7, the n is 7. So it will start from 2. It will try to divide by 2. Then it will try to divide by 3 and so on, right? So if n is 7, so the numbers will get generated is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If it is 7, if n is 7. So n can be any number which is greater than 1, right? So we will try to divide that with I. And if in any case, if it gets divisible, which means the remainder will be 0. So what we are going to do is we need to make this flag value as 1. Okay, we need to make this flag value as 1. So this is an indication that this condition got satisfied. And then we can break the loop. Since the condition got satisfied, so what does it indicate? It is divisible, which means that the number is not a prime number. Had it been 7, which I assumed that n is 7, this condition will never get satisfied. Okay. But for any n number, if this condition gets satisfied, this is an indication that the number is not a prime number, because it is getting divisible, right? The remainder is 0. So I will make that flag value as 1. What was the value of flag? That is 0. And then what I will do is outside the loop, outside the loop, I will simply check if the value of flag, if it is 0, which I had initialized it before the loop. If it remains 0, it will indicate that the number is a prime number. right? Because this condition never got satisfied, which means that the number is a prime number. And else, I will give the else part for this if statement, else I will print that the number is, sorry, this is not, yeah, this is prime and this is not prime, okay? Else the number is not prime. I hope this makes a lot of sense, right? So, and then if it is divisible, I'll make the value of flag as 1. So just an indication that the flag value has become 1, which means the number is divisible. It is not prime. Now, this is how it is done in every other programming language. And this is where the for else will can be very effective. Now we are going to do the same program using the for else. And the same program will be something like this. And that is, I will take the value of an int of input. Okay, enter a number, right? And then I don't require any other extra variable such as the flag variable. I will simply start a for loop for I in, I will take a range 2 comma n, and then I will check whether n is divisible with the value of I. Okay, if it is divisible, then I will simply break. In fact, before breaking, I can simply first print. I need to print that not prime. So the number is not a prime number since it got divisible, and then I will break the loop. Okay. And then what I will do, I will have the else part of the for loop. And when will this else part get executed? The else part will get executed if the for loop completes all its iterations, isn't it? So over here, I will print the number is prime, right? So if this condition gets satisfied, the loop will break. And if the loop breaks, this else part will not get executed. And before breaking, we are anyway printing not prime. And if this condition never gets satisfied, it is not going to print anything. The loop is not going to break. It will complete all its iterations. In that case, this else part will get executed and it is going to print the message that number is prime number. So I hope you got how to use that for else, and it is very, very effective. As you start coding in Python, you're going to also use this else part, that is for the for loop and the while loop. And now what we are going to do is we are going to switch to the PyCharm and we are going to implement the code. So let us just switch to PyCharm, and here it is. And this was the previous code. So let me just delete that. Okay, and I'm going to implement, okay, I'm going to implement the, let us straight away implement the prime number program. So I will take n is equal to int input, okay, enter a number, and then if I need to use the for I in range, I will start from 2 comma n colon if and mod I, if it is equal to 0, right? What I will do, I will simply print the message, the number or not a prime number. Okay. And then I will break the loop, come outside the for loop. I mean, the else part of the for loop. So I'll give that else exactly aligned with the for, right? So this else belongs to the for loop, and I will print the message that the number is prime, number is prime number, whatever it is. Okay. So if I run this code, that is this one. Okay. If I enter a number 5 and you can see the message, the number is prime number, the number is prime, right? And if I run this again, I give 10 and 10 is not a prime number. So not a prime number. That's the message. And that is how the else part is working. So I hope you have enjoyed this video, and the entire confusion regarding the else part of the for loop and the while loop is very much clear to you. So I'm going to stop over here. We are going to meet in the next video. So bye for now.